the very first defense here. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's not that usual. We did see a fair bit of lobby yesterday on Consulate, so
two or three rounds.
2 or 3 rounds, and there's some teams that, as we've gone on, lobby I think has seen a remarkably strong uptick in play.
Mm-hmm.
There are some teams I know I've recalled watching. I believe it was in the actual qualifiers themselves. Prior to the actual invitational, where teams would just completely omit the basement. They would just go lobby and the second floor, and I think a big focus of that is that if a team can successfully hold the second floor, then you have a pretty good chance of holding the lobby as well.
You know, the bottom floor on Consulate has always been, I think, a point of debate for most teams. No one can seemingly decide definitively whether it's a good site or not. We have teams that'll just completely avoid it. We have parts of the season where it'll be out of the meta and everyone will avoid it. And then we have parts of the season where every single team wants to go to it. It's really a confusing bomb site at times. And sometimes the change in that mentality can come with no prompting whatsoever. However, in this case, of course, there's been many a prompt given the new operators. Now,
it's funny, I was going to say that we do see a Valkyrie right off the bat. That was an operator that we thought would be a given on Consulate yesterday in Latin America, and only saw some limited play, all things considered, which was not usual for this map in particular.
Ooh, Yogurts rather, excuse me, right off the bat, Spoken on Lion. Of all operators to get early on a spawn peak, he's going to get the Lion. That's a really beneficial kill for that team there. Millenium going to be feeling good about that. And just to build on what you were saying with Valkyrie, I think, it's probable that we're seeing less Valkyrie these days on him. Ooh, another one for Yogurts as he takes out a Prox, and Hicks will get the third, Renshiro the fourth, and there's only one attacker left on Oplon, and he's going to be outside that front door. Moving over to Visa, he will actually get a kill before going down, so he could potentially ace this. That's a good frag there for Yak. He's still got a good amount of utility as well on that lifeline.
We're not in impact frag territory just yet. This is all just, this is vanity. These are stat padding, or this is stat padding at the moment. You don't really start to move into impact frags until you've killed a couple of, and he's gone indeed. You had Liven, or not Liven actually, sitting underneath looking up through a spot that you do see quite a bit of play on the window inside of Visa, and no real chance there. Millenium take round number 1 pretty fast.
Is that not Liven?
That's not Liven.
It's not Liven.
It's not Liven.
What a round from Millenium, all outside, and that really played into the strengths of the Valkyrie. So I was trying to say, before Millenium killed all of Oplon, that I think it's likely we're not seeing much Valkyrie on Consulate, which is, again, like you said, a map where you would expect her to be given, because we're seeing that yellow meta, the IQ being played quite a lot. And here you see Oplon played her, now Millenium's playing her, and she's oh so proficient usually at getting those cameras. Unfortunately, didn't happen last round, but we'll see if it works for Millenium.
Seems like there's some diminishing returns on those cameras if the round ends that quickly. I mean, unless they used all the cameras to get those early kills, it seemed like a very
outside.
Yeah, it seemed like a very routine push through the main door that came a bit early.
I don't think they even got through the front door.
They tried. You saw they dropped the 2 smokes though. Yeah. And tried to get through the front door, but it didn't really work.
You think it was just like an attempt at a main lobby rush with some smoke cover? Yeah, that unfortunately for Oplon, unfortunately for Millenium, doesn't tend to work very well, because you've got upstairs to worry about, open up holes in projector, you've got so many opportunities for the defenders to peek outside, and you're seeing that now even work against Renshiro from Millenium, who has been lit up and lost a little bit of HP on his shield early out of the spawn.
You will hear the phrase yellow meta an awful lot. That's because if you are colorblind, 4 of the current operators that you see on attack are yellow.
Yeah, we're actually even seeing the Finka too.
We see a Finka, and we see a Blackbeard, which Blackbeard has seen some play on this level before. He's going to go for 2 onto the Blackbeard, but he's not going to aggress at all. Rise will get felled by Spoken. Managed to let him get away. I don't know why the Blackbeard is not following up, but Spoken right now droned. He didn't have his gadget active.
Here comes the Lion, followed up with the Finka. Yogurts will get Spoken. That's an important frag. The Roamer refragged. Michi inside a CEO, though, going to be able to fall back after getting Liven, pushing that top floor. And that's a successful roam there for Oplon. They're going to call the retreat. Very wise from them. Millenium now will have to lick their wounds and reassess.
So losing an IQ and a Finka are not, I would say, your 2 most important operators on attack.
No.
Losing Finka is a blow because you get that sustain from her ability, but IQ, by and large, A lot of teams bring her to try and get the Valkyrie cams, then after that she just typically goes to a fragging role.
And then there's no Valkyrie cams in this round, so even less to worry about. Of course, you do have those Mute Jammers and the Legion traps, but not nearly as beneficial as getting a Valk cam. Now, drop has been opened, and more are being.
I'm very surprised there, not to interrupt you for a second, that there were no Mute Jammers to deny those XKROs from going off in the bathroom from above.
There actually might have been. There's almost always a corner on these drop downs where the Mute cannot get to it. You saw there from, I think it was Hicks, who was very particular about where he placed his XKROs on the corner of that drop because it cannot be gotten by a Mute Jammer. It's the same thing with like the Oregon one. Everyone thinks, oh, Oregon main lobby can mute it. If you just put it on the corner, it's not muted, right?
And speaking of mute, Jacques will come up on the roam, take out Renshiro, who was looking the wrong way. Yuggerts, who is positioned at the bathroom wall that has been opened up, will now rotate to the front lobby drop down and have the EE1D go off. It'll expose the mute, almost comically, but he is in the safety of the basement. There's some floors in here that just you cannot shoot through, and there's a lot of hard walls that don't afford any penetrability whatsoever. Another smoke will go off. Yogurts has 2 kills now, and Hicks will jump in, and they have evened things up. Safis and Aprox are the last 2 left for Oplon right now. Yogurts drops down, gets a 3rd kill. Oh my, as Aprox gets taken off the board. That's the mirror of Safi's last one left. He'll get shot at from the Lion. Can he go for 4? He sees one, but shoots a dead body, and Hicks cleans up. Millenium take 2 in a row.
That seemed like an Oplon round, that's for sure. It was what a very significant comeback there, 3 versus 4 on a hugely successful roam for Oplon, still not working out for them in the long run. So, good job there to Millenium recovering from the deficit. Kind of interesting that they managed to make it work. They didn't open up the garage at all. No thermite brought, so they didn't even think about it. They just used those drop downs and the locker hallway, which is not necessarily the easiest attack because you're putting yourself into such easy bottlenecks to hold. It just seemed like Oplon were not capable of holding those.
And I mean, you looked for a second there that the mute was going to, of Jacques, was going to be able to do well as he caught the Blackbeard looking and was primed and ready in a good position, but didn't watch the drop above him, which is where he got killed by Yogurts, the Lion himself. And I mean, we have talked about Lion's impact an awful lot, but we've seen multiple teams use him in different ways. Some teams will use him as a support operator who won't be, you know, primarily tasked with getting any kills. Others will see Lions become a bit more frag happy, so to speak, and right now that appears at least the way that that Millenium has been rolling him out. I've also been very intrigued by the role swaps that Oplon mentioned, because you had Spoken, who was playing primarily anchor and support roles previously, with Jacques and somewhat Safiz running as the fraggers, either on defense or on attack. They saw that Safiz was running as a fragger, and they had the new Aprox sitting as an anchor.
The blitz being brought here from Oplon is going to likely be centered around that push towards the yellow stairs. A very difficult angle to get dominance over for attack. It's kind of a tight engagement. If you've got like an Ella, for example, those Gersmots can really hurt that push, or even just a smoke with his gas canisters. Either way can be frustrating, but it looks like since they are attacking into the basement, they are going to need it. And they don't have a thermite. They won't be able to open up the garage panel in any significant manner, but they could still get at least a prone hole, maybe a crouch hole out of Habana.
Yeah, and we've spoken a lot about Lion and his ability and his impact to, you know, empower certain operators on attack, but I think Blitz almost gets not overlooked, but overshadowed by the Lion because Blitz is so challenging to deal with, and I think you hit the nail right on the head there when you said that there's a very small portion of operators that can really take him on. And I mean, you said yesterday, back when he used to drop his shield, it was still difficult to establish crossfires on him, even when he was more vulnerable. Now he's far more protected. The first EE1D, however, will go out. It'll take about 90 seconds.
Oh, he moved.
And Rise didn't even look like he moved, though, but he was indeed detected. That is unfortunate for him on the spiral stairs.
It looked like he tapped one of his movement keys into the railing. So as long as you press WAS or D, you have effectively moved by EE1D's account. So Rise, who potentially could have gotten off a great flank now, has given away his position, will light up Aprox. The IQ on low HP, as well as the Blitz. This is some great roam from Rise so far. Jock is going to get livened, though. One of the anchors downstairs. And Spoken will finish off Rise. What a close headshot there. Yogurts from Yellow Stairs, though, backs up his roaming teammate. And he is going to be responded onto by Jock. So he's been having a fantastic round so far. However, Oplon are all very lit, except for the Habana.
This is very sloppy. I'm not a fan of this at all. They're literally throwing bodies in the direction of the attackers, not calling out where they are, and they're getting torn to pieces for it. Hicks, what were you doing at that point? You had the Smoke who tried to run out of garage to challenge the Habana, and Michi was able to punish him. Now, if you look, Oplon has probably under 100 HP combined between their 4 operators, which will leave Renshiro in a good position, but it's still 4v1. 20 seconds, though. Michi will need to come in through that hole in the garage to get the plan off. They still have 1 drone up right now, and Renshiro waits. All it's going to take is 1 shot. Now, Mira doesn't have a lot of ammo in her magazine, but it's only really 1 bullet from the Vector that will be able to do this. C4 will miss as Renshiro poorly times that. It doesn't even matter. just simply throwing numbers at them. Oplon will take their very first round as it's the Blitz of Safiz. The bottom of Yellow Stairs will get that kill.
So that was a questionable round from Millenium. As you stated, just throwing their bodies up at the attack and being really unsuccessful in that manner. And then also the Smoke with only 30 seconds left in the round, running out of main garage. I am perplexed by the decision making there for Millenium. You're up 2 rounds, but that doesn't really justify that kind of confidence. So that's going to even them out, and hopefully they've learned their lesson from that round. And Oplon now feeling much more comfortable. They are going to be executing a castle strategy to the defense of the top floor, which is something we see from time to time, though in the current meta, not nearly as much.
I think Castle is going to be an operator that might be seen as somewhat of a harder counter to that rush push that we've seen
maybe
so much. I mean, it strikes me as a punish to those teams that are less coordinated, that play better because of the way that Lion and Blitz and Finka and all of them allow them to play. So, I mean, Castle is a niche pick on most sites, usually situational, hovers around 10 to 15%. I'm very interested to know, as we go forward, if there is a place for Castle to be able to slow that down.
I mean, there could very well be, but at the same time, you're also limiting yourself when you're like pushing the site. And when the rush is coming out, that means as a defending team, you have less ability to retake or deny that push. You know, you're effectively blocking the site. So it's a trade-off, right? Do you want the safety for a later retake, or do you want the ability to slow down that assault?
This is a bit of a late setup that's still being worked on right now by Oplon. I mean, that admin hold that we see with the mute Mira that's there in order to contest anybody who pushes in through admin is pretty standard, yet it takes them, 30 seconds into live action to actually get it down.
I mean, at least they get it down, right? It could have been deliberate, see if they have a Twitch who, interestingly, we haven't talked about this much, Twitch has found herself also kind of outside of the meta.
Very little play rate, which is impressive given the fact that Mira is sitting at a plus 90% pick rate. You would imagine that they would be intertwined, but no. I think it's just simply a matter of you don't really need her. First kill goes to Yogurts. That's his 7th. He is having one hell of a day so far. Spoken is down, and that's the castle, but all of his castle barricades are down, so you don't need to worry about any wasted utility there.
See, that's why you reinforce that wall in connector. If you don't, you can't anchor B. Rise will also get a proc, so Millenium feeling strong in this round so far. There's only half of the round left, so they are going to have to start speeding things up, but I think their time management has been respectable so far.
Yeah, not as brisk as we've seen other teams go on, but it's a little bit faster than yesterday. It's...
Yeah.
You see the adrenaline surge go out from Finka. They'll push the Jaeger of Michi, who is just in bad position, and they have stormed up Yellow Stairs. Look at Rise, though, has next to no health and is thriving because of that Finka boost. It will eventually deplete at some point. So if he's at long desk, we'll fire all the way down to the top of Yellow Stairs. Jacques gets one, but oh my, Liven and Rise finish things off. Millenium answers back after losing the previous round. They now hold a 3-1 lead. They're only one away from match point.
So those mistakes that they had on the defense of the basement not really shining through into the next attack round for Millenium. Like that attack from them, they took control over Yellow Stairs as their primary objective, but they had people pressuring from connector window and B window as well, and it just seemed like despite the emphasis that Oplon was placing on B, they also left a lot of opportunities to be flanked or just stood in angles that are really easy for Millenium to establish.
Now, yesterday we made a bit of a missed call when we said that Lion held a 100% pick rate. He's pretty close to 100. I think he's hovering around 98%.
Something like that.
But it will trend a little bit downward as the first time today we do not see a Lion. He was avoided 3 times yesterday, all by red cannons. So that is, first of all, a correction on our part that we were.
Whoops.
We had gotten that one wrong, and I believe in owning the lack of I guess truth to that statement.
It wasn't all you, Parker?
It wasn't all me. I mean, it was a mistake. We all own those mistakes. However, Lion for
it was actually, I think it was mostly me.
It was all of us. We we win as a team, we lose as a team. You know, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. All that jazz.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork does indeed make the dream work. We love cliches here in Katowice, Poland.
Those are the best.
Now, this is the first time today because he did hold a 100% pick rate in the PENTA Mockit matchup. He will not be played in this case. The final pick was taken by Spoken and went with the Jackal instead, which is funny because Jackal was Lion before Lion was Lion.
I mean, in a sense, yeah, but Jackal's... Yeah, we'll say that. We'll go with that. I like it. It's a good way to put it. But yeah, he is going to be really proficient at clearing out those roamers, especially at even just giving you a lot of information on site. I mean, one thing that I think didn't get talked about very much when it did happen was Jackal actually got a buff a couple patches back where he had more pings, I believe, and they were accelerated at the rate that they did ping. So there's a lot less opportunity to maneuver and bait with Jackal now. Ooh, and speaking of Jackal, Spoken, what a shot onto Yogurts using that holographic at quite a deep range there.
Yeah, it was Yogurts rotating unwisely, losing all of those goos that he would be able to generate over the next 2 minutes, and also probably the best player in the match for Millenium right now. Spoken, don't sleep on that C7E, one of the most preferred guns by most pro players, but I think there's a certain, I don't know if you'd agree with me on this, but the sound of it makes it sound it has a bit of it's yeah. So, anywho, Spoken will pick up Michi, who had been downed, and you'll see another as wow. A couple kills go out. Not only do they manage to get a couple kills, but the diffuser goes down. So Ryzen, not Lyman, had answered after it had been a prox earlier on, getting in on the action. A deficit of the defense by 2. They see 1 blitz. That will be a challenge for Hicks. Spoken takes out Lyman, and it's all up to the smoke of Hicks left. As the diffuser hits almost towards the halfway mark, he'll get blinded. Square off against the Jackal, but they're just going to focus him down. A prox playing on the balcony. We'll get the final kill, and Oplon now answers back 2. And it's now 3-2, still in favor of Millenium.
Really well done there. I got to give props to Oplon for proving that you don't actually need a Lion to win an attack round. Well done there. It was mostly down to Spoken, though, who isolated the admin office and then forced his way into the A site where there were no Millenium players waiting to hold the site itself, isolated it with his smoke grenades, and then quickly got that defuse plant. Well done to Spoken. Even got a kill in the post plant.
Yeah, when you lose the Legion, the only member of your team playing in admin side, and you lose him right away, not only do you lose a body on that side and have to rely on somebody else to rotate over, which wasn't a successful rotate from Millenium, but you could also just have Legion use those traps in place of a potential body to slow people down so that somebody can get there on time. And that was, both of those things, of course, were taken away on that early kill from Spoken to take out Yogurts. That Legion.
I mean, if you have like a Legion at the top of Visa stairs, just one trap, and an attacker starts to push into it, then immediately upon hitting the Legion, which is almost certainly going to happen, then they have to fall back and take it out, and it takes like a whole 10 seconds and it also prompts your team to that happening. Now Hicks is going to get a kill onto Jock. That looked like it was, yes, over by the bench hallway. A little bit of a spawn peek there from the mute, not working out for Oplon.
I was going to say, we've seen an abundance of these kind of kills, and now Spoken, who had looked like he was going to be going for a spawn peek earlier on, had rotated and then went for one of his own. And we'll answer back. He's taking out the Blackbeard of Renshiro. Crazy to think that Blackbeard, if you look at this team composition, Blackbeard is not one of the 2 most prized takes at the moment. Used to be when you managed to take the Blackbeard down on Consulate. That gives you a bit of room to breathe easy.
Well, the main thing is you can start thinking about shooting at the head instead of the torso, which is nice. It's convenient. It's something like definitive. Oh, I got Blackbeard. Okay, now we start aiming a little higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely not as important as it used to be. As you say, it would have been much better if they got the Lion or possibly even the Finka. You know, she actually has been seeing a lot of play in this match. However, overall, she's not as favored in the Pro League as Lion is. Or even Blackbeard.
No, Blackbeard, IQ, and Finka have all
kind of even.
They're all kind of even, but 2 kills from Millenium as Rise and Yogurts take down Aprox, and Michi leaving just Spoken and Safiz. They had gone for a very early spawn peak. It paid off for 1. That was Jacques, who had been taken down on his own after Spoken had gotten a kill. Now, once again, no mutes upstairs in that bathroom. I'm surprised that they're just giving that away. Hicks watching any potential flanks from either yellow stairs above or yellow stairs below, as one more EE1D will go down. They have 1 minute and 15 seconds with 1 more after this one is finished to potentially catch the Vigil or the Miran. As much as people think that he may be immune to it, Vigil is not immune to Lion scans at all.
I mean, a lot of people think logically he would be, but at the same time, that would make him single-handedly the best roamer without question in this current meta. So I guess just not the case for this for Vigil. Actually, I believe he's just been downed by the grenade from Rise. Really well done from him to read Vigil's position wisely and throw that nade in just perfect.
So Vigil is down, and Safiz has just also given away his temporary position, but will very slowly rotate. And I don't think he's been spotted. It did look like he might have moved.
Ooh.
They'll finish off Spoken, and Safiz soon follows. 3 kills from Rise that round. One of the newest members of Millenium proving his worth, and we are up 4-2. Now, I think it's important to note that the very first time these teams played back at the start of last season, Ares won the first map. They came within 1 round of winning the second map. A lot of people would say that they probably threw it away because Millenium was able to storm back, win the second map, and then Ares won the third. It pushed Millenium down, who then lost their next matchup to Be Genius, and were actually facing the odds of relegation. Then, of course, some things happened.
Oh, yeah, some things.
Some things happened, and Millenium went from facing relegations to staying alive. They faced Ares again and won 2-0. You heard in the interview that Liven had said that this is, he thinks, the best roster that Millenium's ever had. They look pretty good. I mean, one of those rounds that they lost was when they just stupidly threw bodies at a problem and didn't fix it at all. If I may say that and be a little critical of it,
they threw bodies at like 3 different problems.
They literally just kept throwing body. You know, somebody dies in the hallway by yellow stairs. You know, let's just send him in. Just send another up there.
Let's go outside the main garage. See what happens.
Let's have Smoke try to run out a main
with
garage
30 seconds left
against Hibana, who very likely has an ACOG on 1 gun. 5 seconds. Maybe running double hollows. I'm not sure, but still, it was. I mean. We've seen that too with both of these teams breaking windows, going for spawn peaks. I don't know, a lot of aggression, and I think that was something that I believe it was Lackey, formerly who played for I Don't Know or Snookin' Knows last season, who said that a lot of this meta involves around getting early picks, and both these teams are taking it very literally.
Yes, yeah. There's been a spawn peak most every round so far, and as you can see, a continuation of those outside cameras. Now, Oplon, or specifically Aprox, has been not very successful in getting those cameras so far with his IQ play, and he's seemingly not successful so far in this round, but that could change. He's still got time in the round. It's just, it doesn't even seem like he's checking.
No, you can literally see the IQ right there. Oh, just pulled out the gadget and should be able to spot 1, but Yogurts will get off of the cam just in case they don't see it. And now everybody freeze, red light is on, and in just a couple moments,
green light.
Green light. We call it red light, green light, but hilariously we call it yellow meta, which is, of course, the color in between red and green.
You're so clever.
I try.
Beautiful.
I try.
So, yellow stairs, first Safiz. He's got control now at the middle floor. He's going to start mealing this barbed wire. He's got to be careful of the Smoke who's playing a long angle and using those gas grenades to force him back. Ooh, what a play there from Hicks. Perfect timing to read the blitz retreating as he had nowhere left to breathe.
Quite literally.
Yes, quite literally.
That was a very smart.
So I was trying to be clever too?
It's, you succeeded. So Blitz is very difficult to take one-on-one. That required him to expend 2 of his 3 toxic beauties and then use the SMG, and Hicks will get another as Michi fallen right out front of the main door.
What a round from Hicks. He's been having a fantastic play so far, repositioning, getting all the control he needs, and that was the Hicks that ran outside garage too, so he's recovered.
He has, and I think Hicks as well is a new addition to Pro League on PC. So we don't know if there's any potential learning curve for him. First kill, though, does go out for Oplon, and that was Jacques who was able to get the kill onto Yogurts. He dies with just about a minute left of action. Still have a Lion, though. Still could rely on those EE1Ds. It doesn't seem like he's used all of them so far. And then you've got Jacques as well with the disruption. And speaking of Jacques, he will fall very quickly. Liven takes him out and is now 4-2, not just in terms of rounds, but also in terms of operators. Aprox, one of the 2 members left inside of main lobby, and now Rise takes down Aprox. It's all up to Spoken.
Spoken will get a kill before being eliminated. Liven with some good anchoring there. And an interesting strategy from Oplon for the very last round here. They just tried to focus on backhaul, bench haul, yellow stairs control, which is kind of limiting. I mean, it's a very dangerous thing to attack. It's like trying to just come in through the locker hallway when attacking the bottom floor. And it ended up not working out for Oplon because all of those bottlenecks. I mean, what control do you really have in that situation?
Right, and if I recall correctly, that was Oplon's map as well that Millenium just won by a score of 5-2.
You are correct.
There you go. So we will head to Chalet in just a couple moments. The 2 French teams will compete on the only French map.
Which is going to be interesting.
It is.
I mean, we could see Baguette come out here very early for the victor of Millenium if they manage to push it all the way, or we'll have to win on a not French map, which would be Clubhouse.
Is Consulate not located in a country that used to be under French control as well, if I recall correctly? We're delving really deep in here.
Not entirely sure, to be honest.
That'll be something that we'll have to check, but interesting. Interesting. So with Chalet, we look at this. A couple notes for me on what we just saw on the map. So one round, I think in particular, Millenium tossed away. Absolutely, with the way that they played very, very aggressively.
Yep.
You know, I don't think it needs to be said again because this is the 3rd or 4th time that we mentioned it. But other than that, this is just simply Millenium overwhelmed them. A lot of rounds where Oplon couldn't even get in the building, and rounds where Millenium would get in and just catch them looking the other way.
If it hadn't been for that one round, it would have been a 5-1. It was a 5-2 to finish it out. So it could be map preference, but you know, you can't really say that when, as you said earlier, it's Oplon's pick. So going on to Chalet, which is Millenium's pick, Oplon's got to be careful, that's for sure.
I think Millenium disappointed a lot of people by not making it into the Final 4 of the 6 Invitational qualifiers.
Which you need to make it into the Final 4 for this season.
I mean, to be fair, the way that it worked for Europe last season was because ENCE got the championship provision, there were 2 spots from Europe that were open. The seeding of the brackets meant that all of the remaining Pro League teams were all in the bottom bracket. So there was 4 Pro League teams competing for 1 spot, whereas you had the bracket above, which was a couple Challenger League teams and then some teams that were just assembled at that time to compete in the actual playoffs and ladder themselves. So you have Millenium fighting against Supremacy, I don't know, and I believe it was 1-up for that final spot, and that's just tough.
I mean, overall, as well, we had a 16-team invitational, and yet it still felt like we could have brought more. Like, there was capacity within the Pro League these days for teams that, you know, were decently skilled that just couldn't make it. So, you know, it was the game has come a long way, and we have I think a lot more diversity in terms of skill. And I mean, we've got 2 French teams. Both of these squads right now playing each other are very equally skilled, I would say. They're really good teams, and I mean, that's just something we didn't used to have.
I think the funny thing that we could potentially see, and we've seen this so many times over the last couple weeks and previous months, is that, you know, one team is so dominant on the other team's map, and then, you know, Oplon comes out and like 5-1s them on Chalet, and we're like, why did you pick each other's maps? And then we go to the tiebreaker and see what happens now. So
I think it was season 6 that we saw that week after week after
every
week.
single week. It was just like, I remember looking at, it's just like,
what is going on here?
Did they tell us the wrong maps?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you sure?
It's like it got confused.
Switched?
All that aside, though, Chalet, we are going to be getting into it. Map number 2 of this best of 3. Millenium having won Consulate 5-2.
The sunny beaches of France as we head into a very nice Chalet. This is going to be a very interesting series matchup, just because these teams are evenly matched, as has been pointed out, but the way that we're seeing a lot of Blitz, the way that we're seeing a lot of Lion, you know, this is one of, I would say, probably Black Dragon's favorite maps at one point, and they would run Blitz every single time and made it work. And take a look, there's no Blitz at all to start things off on attack. Instead, Buck, who has seen his pick rate drop quite substantially, will be brought in.
Of course, you know, Buck has a little bit of an issue right now. I think, you know, hopefully it'll be fixed soon, but because of that, you only bring Buck in this current meta if you really need the skeleton key. Otherwise, you're bringing a sledge. If you can justify that soft destruction up close rather than at a distance, usually that's achievable. It just comes down to if you're trying to, well, I mean, you can't hit the ceiling with a sledgehammer. So if that's your objective, then you need a Buck.
as well. Renshiro has been running that Blackbeard with great reliability today, which is, to me, it doesn't really speak around a strategy that they have involving him. It's probably just operator preference because
Could be.
Blackbeard on Consulate, sure, upstairs and maybe on main lobby, very sparsely on Garage we see, and I mean that could also just be that they didn't know that they would go down to Garage, but now you take a look here and it's like Chalet, okay, a Blackbeard has a place on Chalet, but we've seen lots of operators get running this place.
We were also talking earlier about how the meta for defense right now seems to be aggression, peek outside, see if you can get those early picks. Blackbeard directly counters that entire mentality.
Absolutely.
I mean, the whole thing with Blackbeard is you don't peek a Blackbeard. So if everyone's peeking and Renshiro's ready, then that's basically just free kills for Millenium. So I could see why they're going to be bringing him here. I get what you're saying too, though. He doesn't make a lot of sense in the older meta for Chalet.
And it's very similar. It's very similar to what you see from a Glaz. Is that just knowing that they have a Glaz, just knowing that they have a Blackbeard, is a disincentive right there to peek, regardless of anything else. And it's funny to see Blackbeard's pick rate plummet because I think Bosco needs a lot of credit of this from North America for bringing the SR25 really into the mold. And since he was able to wreak such havoc on his opponents in the 6 Invitational qualifiers, I don't think we've seen much of the assault rifle from Blackbeard at all.
No, you're not going to bring the assault rifle. It's seen so many nerfs, and the SR25, 2 shots to pretty much everyone from most distances. I mean, you've got to bring that. It shoots pretty fast too for what it is. C4 will miss from Saphir, or inside of the closet. That was a little bit of a misplay there, or Safiz, excuse me.
It's a Safiz.
I'm mixing up names.
That's okay. So, Valkyrie seeing a lot of play on Chalet, as is usual. We also see Pulse used a fair bit, but Valkyrie does tend to be the intel gatherer on Chalet of preference right now, and will do battle with Rise.
Oh,
quite
Rise,
literally,
you can get it. You can get it. I believe in you.
Is incapable and will expend a frag grenade. Which finally finishes off Prox, knowing that there's one more playing on blue stairs and will push. I like Rise doing this, trying to make sure the Mira doesn't get away. That Lion came out just a little too late. You could have frozen Mira in place, and she's able to get away and also get a frag onto Hibana, who is a pretty prime target. But this late in the round, you'd figure most of Hibana's job should be done, hopefully. Yogurt's though taking out Jacques, and will give an advantage back to Millenium that they will lose as Spoken finishes off Yogurt's.
So for the back hall, that mirror window is going to aid the Blackbeard, who is pushing up nice and close. It's Renshiro. He's not going to shoot the mirror window open because it completely works to his advantage. All of the defenders are exposed to it except for the Legion, who's inside of Connector. Now, if he can get that Connector player, he can easily push the flank of the other 2 defenders, who are trying to hold up the assault from Wine Hall. Now, there's not much time left for the attack for Millenium. They're going to have to start pushing, and it's starting to stall out for him here. Here comes the push, though, the final one. Renshiro from the side, didn't get the Connector player, and he will get fragged out. So above as well, Spoken on the flank, gets Liven. And what is this? The plant coming down from Rise, but there's not enough time. Michi reads that the diffuser has to be going down and pushes into the site to win the round. Good defense there from Oplon. A little bit too much time wasted on Millenium's part.
Yeah, I mean, this is Millenium's map, and of course Oplon will win the first round in pretty convincing fashion. So good strides by Oplon to start this off on the right footing. We'll see what goes on with the attack. Now, Spoken right now is kind of waiting. We saw last time around he was last pick for his team when he picked a Jackal and opted not to go with a Lion. We'll see if there's any changes made. Nope, but a Lion will come in a Sledge. I think this speaks to the fact that you said we've seen a lot more Sledge this time around. I do agree that I think that has been overall an issue with Buck that needs to possibly be addressed at some point for some of these teams. Though it is nice to see Sledge back in it. Just as you said about Mute yesterday, it is nice to see Sledge have a place.
And there's Mute.
And of course there is a Mute as well. So Valkyrie subbed out in place of a Pulse. There will be only one anchor in Hicks, but look at that. It's good how roam heavy this team could potentially be.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing a lot of the roamers start anchoring, like roamer operators that you would normally classify as roamers. Like Ella, for example, after her nerf, of course, she became more of an anchor operator, a 3-speed, pinch operator, where you're going to stick her somewhere that her gun can't lose a fight, because it still has those positions, but she's not as proficient on the roam. Now, you don't have to do that. As you can see, Rise looks like he's going to be roaming upstairs, but it's what we've been seeing a lot of. Actually, you called it right. There's only one anchor right this second. Everyone else off-site. Renshiro potentially maybe going to rotate back, but not right now.
They have the one thing with a mute too is, of course, you've got 4 mute jammers. You can use them as the mute superhighway, so you can just run in one clear path through all of the mute jammers without worry at all of a Lion. That is, of course, a joke. Do not use your mute like that.
I mean, it could be done.
It could be.
I could see that being useful maybe somewhere, but
probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
No, I mean, it would be. I don't think the mutes extend far enough to link them together like that. Not efficiently.
I mean, the radius on it is pretty small, all things considered.
Yeah.
He only gets 4 of them. So, I mean, you're better spent using it to deny entry into areas. Or
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is that I think this isn't really publicized as much as the other use of a mute jammer, is that if you're standing in a mute jammer, you don't get detected, but the EE1D doesn't go off if you're in the radius of a mute jammer either. And I think that that's something that a lot of people could keep in mind. And if you step into a mute jammer, to the best of my knowledge, the EE1D stops working.
That's not something I've actually tested. If you try to detonate it and you're in a mute jammer,
It will not go off.
Does it expend it, though?
No, it doesn't. It just says that your EE1D is jammed. Yogurt gets first kill, though, on to Spoken, and that is the Lion going down. He had seen one of his EE1Ds go out. Jock will refrag that, and leaving us back at 4v4 with about half the round to go.
It's a little bit of a mistake there from Jock to allow that frag to happen at all for Millenium. They shouldn't have been able to get a kill on the flank, considering they have, or Oplon specifically has a dedicated flank watch. He is going to be on that balcony, though, looking for another one. Rise, his next target, will give away his position on these back stairs. Will have to fall back now. At that range, you're either getting a headshot with Ella's gun, or you're not doing anything.
Right. There was a time when that Scorpion could have been able to excel at that range, but now...
Now it heals.
Yeah, now absolutely not at all. Liven gets a kill onto Michi. Will put Millenium back up in a numbers advantage. That is the Hibana that has been taken down. They can breathe a little easier knowing that there is some destructibility off the sledge above. Just smashing away at the floors as a prox, taking his time, 45 seconds left. Jacques goes up towards the kitchen window, doesn't see anybody, and will pull off and head towards the trophy window.
So you can see that a prox has got a lot of control, but there's still some spots he cannot get to, for example, by double doors. Liven going to be prompted to fall down because of the destruction above him, choosing to provide for himself and save his life rather than be exposed any longer. Now, it's not necessarily a bad play. With 23 seconds, Oplon doesn't really have much going for them here. Now, Hicks is going to finish off Safiz in West Lobby, but will be refragged onto Rise by a prox. Liven gets Jock, and that was outside B window, so the last attacker, Prox, is in that West Lobby looking for a fight, and he gets one with a shotgun to the face. Hicks will win, and Millenium takes that round. So now a 1-1 here. So let's get a little bit more back and forth than we saw on Consulate. Consulate went 2 in Millenium's favor. Then we had a little bit of a tussle of a back and forth between Oplon and Millenium for 3 rounds. And then Millenium finally finished it off with 2 to lock it out.
And a different story emerging already on Chalet was a map that I had at least speculated would likely lend itself to a stronger attack just because of the way the sites play out. On Consulate of 7 rounds, the attackers won 5. Currently on Chalet of 2 rounds, the attackers won 0. So, like I said, a bit of a different story, and Chalet seems to be the game that you live and die off of the roam, especially if you're playing Kitchen Trophy. They went 4 roamers in that scenario, and against a Lion and all that, very fascinating that it was able to pay off for them on that defense. It looked like Oplon just had no idea how to get in and where to execute their strategy.
I think on this map, the roamers seem a lot more understanding of what their objective is. On Consulate, for both teams, they seem to linger a little bit, not be sure what they're getting themselves up to, and their flanks that often would be mistimed, or they would get detected by an EE1D and have to reevaluate. And here on Chalet, the roamers are doing a much better job, and that's why I think, you know, like you said, live or die by your roamers. Well, they're certainly living here in this match.
Absolutely. And once again, we see a very nimble team on defense. Anchors being very much out of favor. Right now, I think the only bona fide 3 armor anchor that we've seen at all is Mira. Smoke, of course, filling that anchor role, but only having the 2 armor 2-speed. Yogurts almost took the head off of the blitz of Renshiro there very quickly. Renshiro going from the Blackbeard to the blitz, so he's still holding on to that color yellow. Yeah,
that blitz could be very useful no matter what push you're going for on this site. Coming from the West Lobby, you're going to enter into a lot of crossfires and a little bit risky. But if you come from, for example, the main lobby through double doors, there's not a lot of potential for crossfire, especially considering the main lobby balcony can so easily hold your flank. As well, if you go through B window, which it kind of seems like that might be what Millenium want to do, you get a lot of forward power in terms of blitz.
Very surprising that as that blew up the floor, it didn't actually impact the anchor playing in Trophy. You mentioned the fact that you would situate a buck underneath and blow up on the floor, possibly in conjunction with the Lions charge. They haven't used one of them just yet, but Buck is certainly putting a lot of pressure on and depriving the defensive areas to stand with any reliability.
Yeah, you could see the smoke kind of confused as to where he wants to go, and because of that, he's actually going to bite some bullets with his feet. Now Hicks will get Jock elsewhere. That was, I believe, one of the roamers, the Mute, who has been eliminated, and he was trying to run out from the side entrance.
Same story as Consulate, where you get a little too you get a little cute with those runouts. So
I mean, it was Oplon this time.
Right. So Jock gets taken down in a prox. Who's the one who saw the feet getting shot out of inside a Trophy. He's just got a sliver of health, so his time could potentially be limited. Now an E1D will go, but a run out from Spoken will get 2. Yogurts and Rise pay the price outside a Trophy window, and that Vigil, what a gamble! As now Safiz jumps in. A strong start from Millenium is Oplon getting 3 unanswered kills, and Millenium finds himself at a deficit of 2.
That was about the most perfectly timed run out that could have happened in that situation. Well done there, Spoken. And now they got to be feeling much, much more comfortable in this round. It seemed like it was going in Millenium's favor. They had dealt with most of the B-side anchorage, forced the smoked in a bad position with low HP, but just as the push came out, Spoken said, no, sir.
And now Hicks has to drone himself sitting inside of the office, knowing that Spoken is in bathroom. If he has his ability on, won't last too long, though, as Hicks does find him. I was going to say a good opportunity for Spoken to potentially rotate out of that bathroom window and then over to library window, but no. So they have just 25 seconds left. You've got a Buck and a Hibana. There's still the hatch from above, which is reinforced, and they will need to take care of that. Oh my, Liven sees Michi as an ill-advised move from the Jaeger, will take him down, and it's 2v2, and a Prox with very little health will use 1 smoke canister. I think Liven waiting for the call to hop through the window. There he goes, but he doesn't last long, and Prox takes him out, and Safiz finishes off. Oplon wins, and the defense now 3 for 3 here on Chalet.
Counter to what I was expecting, to be honest. Good defenses from both teams, and that roaming, again, Spoken, what a run out. You really can't undervalue that. If it hadn't been for the run out, it's likely we would have seen a push in through the B window, and yes, Millenium would have certainly taken some losses, but you can be certain they probably would have gotten site control, as that often works in their favor, especially when you have like a Lion popping his ability in the middle of the push. Now, Oplon up 2-1. They are going to be thrust onto attack, and Millenium, who was successful defending Kitchen Trophy, will be going to another bomb site. You can see pretty even scoreboards here for the most part. Bar Gaming Room going to be the secondary here for Millenium. See how they choose to interpret this. This is a bomb site. If you're not familiar with Rainbow Six Esports, this is a bomb site that doesn't typically see a lot of play, but has, I believe, it was about, I want to say season 4 or 5, when bar rooms started being a little bit more viable, right around when Mira came out, basically, people realized, you know, all we really need to do here is hold library. And if we hold library, we don't need to worry about anchoring on the site much at all. I mean, you can put 1 person in bar, but the main focus here for the defense is going to be the room above the actual bomb sites.
A couple differences that I think separate it from a very similar site, which would be Customs and Border, that make bar gaming a little bit less accessible for defense to hold it comfortably, the same way that you do see on Customs. But yeah, there's definitely teams that favor bar and gaming. I remember, I think we casted a six ladder match where the teams only went Kitchen Trophy and Bar Gaming. I do not believe they went downstairs at all, either of the teams. It was a European team, if I remember correctly, too.
I also think there's a lot of Latin American teams who really favor the bar gaming. I think the strategy originated in Latin America, saw a lot of adaptation and you know, embraced in North America, but it's a very interesting strategy. And as you can see, a lot of emphasis on that top floor. Millenium going to get 2 kills to start us off. A Prox and Jock go down. That's your disruption from the Ying, as well as soft destruction from the Buck. A nice headshot there for Hicks. C4 followed up for Renshiro. Yogurts finishes it off. What is happening? Millenium absolutely destroy Oplon. Good job there from Yogurts. As you can see, that aggression, we keep talking about it, but that's really what's doing it for the defense here. And as the trend continues, defense is 4 for 4 now.
So essentially what happened was we saw Oplon try to push that site very quickly, assuming that, you know, hey, let's not get control of library right away. Let's just simply push bar and let's push gaming and see what happens. And you saw what happened. A flawless round for Millenium. They go 5 kills with 0 deaths on that round. And now we're all tied up. So once again, we talk about aggression, and you can see Spoken applauding Hicks's play. The castle was a huge job, and that was Hicks, of course, being able to get 2 very important kills. And only 2 of 5, but those are your pretty typical impact frags. And look, he is now top fragging for the team.
And you can see there's a lot of respect between these two guys, or these two squads especially. You know, they're countrymen. And again, no matter who wins here, we've got a French team pulling out that victory. So I'm sure, you know, while one team will be, you know, kind of bummed out and not super happy that they've lost, at least there will be some takeaway for the loser.
Now, for defense, we see once again your only real typical anchor will be Safiz as the Mira downstairs. You've got 4 other operators that can and have been played as roamers. I'm imagining that we'll probably see the Legion played on defense, but or Legion not played on defense, played on site, probably in conjunction with the Mute, but no, it's Michi who's up top.
Yeah, and I believe that there has been defense here already of Oplon for the basement, and they were successful. However, it was a very close round. So there's still potential for Millenium to take it. Now, they had a lot of really good ideas, and last time they came here, they pushed into the blue hallway and established some pretty dominant control with Renshiro on the Blackbeard, but they've actually switched Liven onto Blackbeard now, and Renshiro's playing Lion. Kind of an interesting change.
Yeah, they've juggled roles at the moment. Renshiro now playing his 3rd attacking operator in 4 rounds, or 5 rounds rather, because that doesn't make any sense from a mathematical standpoint. Math is hard.
Yeah,
as we learned yesterday.
I think yeah. Line 100% pick rate.
Nope.
Nope. 90, 98, 97. Anyway, so Millenium, you know, I think dynamic play, being able to play any role. Ooh, nice kill there for Liven. Again, 2 shots. All it takes at that range for the SR-47. Yagurts will get the second one for Millenium, and already with 2 minutes left, they're feeling very comfortable as the first line, I believe, gets detonated. Now, as I was trying to say, Millenium being very dynamic with their roles, I think that's a trait that a lot of teams have been trying to force out, is players being comfortable on pretty much anything that they can pick up. And that means a lot more versatility for the team overall.
The Mira of Safi sees 1 push out through the doorway into Wine, going towards Trench doorway. Wasn't able to get much. There wasn't even an E1D. That was just a slow read, imagining that that Rise would push the way that he did. That's the Thermite, who looked to be in full banana gear. Now, Jaeger of Aprox was playing on site, and he's not, as I stutter through my words. Liven gets his 2nd kill, this time on the Safiz. That was the Mira playing down in the wine closet, or the stock, rather. Hicks eliminating Spoken. It was all up to Aprox, and Hicks gets the final 2. And I believe the very first attacking round. Yep, that is correct. It takes 5, but they finally get one as Hicks, 2 pretty routine headshots, and then still gets the hatch just for good measure.
No big deal there. Nice play from Hicks. What a flank hold as well. Got to give a lot of props to Millenium for having their flank on lock. As well, that Lion, perfect timing to hold Oplon still when they were attempting a double late flank. Didn't work out for them because of the ability. Wine Cellar, Snowmobile Garage, believe this is the first time that Millenium has gone to this site, as they went to the Bar Gaming Room and Kitchen Trophy as alternatives to this particular site. So they are going to show us something new, undoubtedly.
Right, 3 defensive holds for Millenium so far, and this will be their 3rd site. You're absolutely correct. I like the fact that these teams are using Lion in diverse ways, though. Lion is not just a press 1 button and immediately win the round style deal. As we've seen, there have been 5 rounds so far, and 4 of them have gone to the defense. Obviously, that shows that Lion is not always the strongest operator, just without any coordination. And, you know, speaking with a couple players on different teams, they have all tried to reinforce the fact that you still need good communication and good coordination to get the most out of your Lion. As you touched on, that was perfect the way that they used it. And they used it in a way that they were still roamer hunting and roam clearing upstairs in the final minute when you could be using that to either deny a rotate as they're trying to get a plant off. Liven loses about 25, 30 health or so as Mira was doing some renovations next to her actual Mira window.
Miscommunication. It happens. Perspective can be a really weird thing, and it's possible, you know, Renshiro doesn't have his outlines on. Who knows? But whoops, that's for sure. Means that the next engagement Liven gets into, he's going to be feeling a little bit of hurt from that. Renshiro, interesting mirror window up in bar. This is actually going to give him a lot of control. I mean, this basically outright denies a snowmobile bar take, which is a very common take. It's the second most common, I would say. But it looks like Oplon are focusing on wine cellar hallway, which is much more common. Something I want to touch on, what you were talking about with Lion as well. We saw Oplon play an attack round on the previous map on Consulate, and they actually won that without Lion.
Right.
So, I mean, despite them losing the map 5-2, they won an attack without Lion. So, you know, he's not an essential role. As much as we see him at 98, 97 pick rate, he's still, you know, you can win a round without him.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Red Canids won one round without him yesterday as well. If I remember correctly, they ran 3 without him, and I believe 2 of them went to Black Dragons. I could be wrong. My memory could be a little foggy. The Sophia of Jock will take out Yogurts, and that is the Legion, which he has been playing quite a bit on defense. Once again, he is an early pick. The last time this happened on Consulate, the entire thing fell apart for them. And very, very slightly, Liven will move and give his position away on those blue stairs.
You try to play the corners of the Lion, and it really just doesn't work. The EE1D is very sensitive. You got to be very careful with your movements. From the flank, Rise lighting up Spoken and will finally eliminate him. Safiz refrags, but Rise as well, a double kill for him. Safiz, a double kill in response. Now Oplon, they have the man advantage, but they are going to be another flank coming from upstairs. Hicks coming out of the site as the smoke.
Now, once again, Millenium is just literally going to throw bodies once again and see if it works at all. And it will pay off. Hicks will go for the BM cross-map shotgun. And a second from Hicks. Come on. There's going to leave one member left of Oplon, and it's Michi. I cannot believe that you let Hicks get that. The Hibana will have to be very quick with 40 seconds to go. Steps in one goo, and we'll give the position away. It's Renshiro and Hicks left. So at least you've got 2 anchors on site. They had Hicks rotate. He gets back. And now the smoke's perfect timing. Now, he only has 1 left, so there could be an opportunity for Michi to be able to get through that door. But we'll get shot at through the drone hole and panic and now have to maneuver. But with 20 seconds, the clock is very much in favor of the defense.
Going for this retake. There's not going to be a lot in his way. He's going to choose to drop connector. There's already someone there. Renshiro will finish things off. Millenium put it on a match point as well as series point as they already won map number 1, 4-2.
This looks very similar to the Millenium that faced Ares at the end of last season with a pretty conclusive 2-0, if we can say that. So
it's also 3 rounds in a row for Millenium just now.
It is, yes, and still only 1 attacking round win. I mean, this could be a round that Oplon wins and still be 1 away from overtime and then go back to defense, which I think is going to benefit Millenium. I think Millenium's in a very, very good position to close this out here right now, especially if their push pays off. They might switch off the Ying.
They keep making, not roster changes, they keep making operator changes. They put Renshiro back onto Blackbeard, but you saw them for a second, like you said, thinking about a Ying. It's very curious, the Millenium, they have so many options.
And the last time around, like, I mean, Spoken was able to pick them apart because he jumped out while that Lion was, and they got 2 kills outside a trophy window.
Great play from him.
Very smart play. There was no Blackbeard there. I don't even remember if Renshiro was running a Blackbeard that round. I think he was running a Blitz, and he was off somewhere else. So, hey, we'll see if Oplon can counter this. Once again, if you look at their composition, they've only got 1 bona fide anchor in smoke. You will likely keep 1 other on site. You know, they've had different operators moving off. They've actually shown that Jaeger has played a lot of site play for both teams, which is something that Jaeger doesn't do a lot of, but when you've got a Vigil, you've got a Legion and a Mute who can potentially camp one of his Mute Jammers somewhere else off site. You can use Jaeger as somebody on site to play that.
Jaeger's pretty much hands down one of the best operators to deal with a Blackbeard or a Blitz. If you're shooting at the legs or torso, his gun will out DPS oftentimes. Not the SR-47, but you know, you're still going to have a good time against the Blitz if you've got at least 10 meters of distance between you and he. So, yeah, he's a really good operator to deny pushes from those 2 attackers. Now Hicks had a very nice angle here into Master Bedroom, narrowly missing out on a kill there. I believe that was Jock who rotated to what I'm assuming is a rotational. It was indeed. That leads to the hallway.
Nearly lost his head on about 3 separate shots in the first 40 seconds of play and somehow manages to live through all of that.
Spooky.
Cheating death, and it's spooky indeed. So they've got Ren Shiro posted up on Bedroom. They'll try to clear that out first and foremost. Right now, the actual room itself completely clear. It was Jacques who was playing up there in Master Bathroom. He's now fallen off. And you've got Michi and Spoken both sitting inside of office with Jacques at that trophy doorway. Interesting that they'll keep Safiz on site with the procs.
3 anchors on the top floor, still only halfway into the round. They are holding firm on that decision. But Yogurt's vaulting in through B window, and he will get a kill into a procs before retreating back out. That is just not supposed to happen. You have to imagine a procs must have been on drones at that point, not paying attention. And Millenium now in a man advantage lead. They also have control seemingly over Trophy. As Liven will get a kill from below. That's the rotation into Trophy. Denied. Rise will get Jock. This is match point. If Oplon cannot win a 2 versus 5, it's all over.
I would imagine that this is probably all said and done. And there you go. Michi's head will get popped, and it's all up to Spoken, who does get shown. But as the grenade sails by, Hicks finishes things off. That is a GG, and M will keep fighting onwards as Mockit faces Oplon in the losers bracket. One of them will go to relegations. That's going to be 2 French teams colliding, while Millenium will square off against Penta in 2 weeks.
So that was a 10-4 series. Pretty
identical.
Dominant. Yeah. 5-2, 5-2 in favor of Millenium. Saw Hicks there with 11 frags. He had a fantastic match. As well as Yogurts that last round, basically picked apart the B-bomb site, and then from below, I believe it was, I want to say it was Liven with the buck. He was opening up the floor in the hallway. That's the only rotation that they can really use because the hole leading from kitchen into trophy is being cut off by Yogurts. It's just beautiful play there to pick apart the B-bomb site and push in nice and easy.